love AOC. People love Jasmine Crockett. People love Eric Swalwell and the like. And I think that the Democratic Party should put the people out there who the people want. They should put the politicians out there who the people want, who they're asking for, who are meeting the moment with the same energy that
they're not asking for AOC.
Yes, they are.
The people you party with
No.
are.
The people I party with don't like AOC.
Oh, please.
No, they don't at all.
Well, most people don't.
But
she's
AOC,
very far left.
Let me tell you why I'm saying that.
The panic has set in, and AOC is scrambling for cover after Bill Maher obliterated her anti-American rhetoric live on TV. The takedown was epic, brutal, raw, and absolutely unforgiving, triggering a wave of backlash for the Congresswoman. And let's be real, AOC brought this firestorm on herself. Her woke crusade and toxic narratives have spiraled out of control. I've got every explosive clip right here. So, before we dive into the chaos, smash that subscribe button. You don't want to miss final
moments.
One of my favorite
like interviews was when AOC was talking to that lady and she asked her to expand.
About Israel-Palestine?
Oh my God.
Well, I believe absolutely in Israel's right to exist.
She just collapsed into herself?
It's literally like a fifth grader that didn't study.
Looked at that incident more through just as an incident.
And then they ask you about the subject, or you didn't read the book. Well, it's about Billy and his dog.
What people are starting to see, at least in the occupation of Palestine, is...
But the crazy thing about that interview is that her first comment comes off with total authority.
I am a proponent of a two-state solution.
One little follow-up question. Question's like, well, what do you mean by that? And then you just see her get weaker and weaker.
You use the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that?
But what do you mean by that? It's like, I don't know what I'm talking about, man. Yeah. And she literally goes, I'm really not the expert.
Do you think you can expand on that?
I am not the expert on geopolitics on this issue.
She just gave up.
Ever since Bill Maher exposed Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as a political fraud, the panic has been palpable. AOC, once hailed as the progressive firebrand with all the answers, suddenly can't seem to respond to even the most basic questions on issues she claims to champion. Whether it's economics, immigration, or climate policy, her responses have ranged from evasive to downright incoherent, and the critics are pouncing. From the left, the right, and everywhere in between, the backlash is mounting. Even Joe Rogan has joined the chorus, backing Maher's brutal assessment and going so far as to say that AOC is no better than Kamala Harris, another media creation with more slogans than substance. What once seemed like fearless conviction now looks like shallow performance. And the more she speaks, the clearer it becomes. The emperor has no clothes. AOC sees images unraveling and the mask is slipping fast. Check out this next clip on AOC's panic, and I'll be
AOC,
right back.
Here she is.
And I think if you actually do see some of the photos of the signs, I think there's something to be said about the government's about to shut down. There's a vote clock that's going down. The exits that are normally open in that building were suddenly closed.
Suddenly.
So
you
pull the fire alarm? So what I'm here to say is that
what I'm
House
here to say
Administration and U.S. Capitol Police and Jamal Bowman are an active, and he's fully participating and saying there was a misunderstanding. But what I do think is
hold on.
He's active and fully participating in saying that there was a misunderstanding.
He was actively.
That is not our language.
No, he was.
What language is that? She is delightfully stupid. I know people don't like her. I understand that.
Right.
But I just find her just wonderful. She's so dumb.
And that right there is the panic in plain sight. Rambling answers filled with buzzwords that make zero sense. It's like watching a word salad on fire. If you've been paying attention, you'll notice this is AOC's signature move. Anytime she's caught off guard or asked a question she hasn't rehearsed, she spirals into incoherent, jargon-packed nonsense that leaves even her supporters scratching their heads. She tosses out terms like systemic injustice, intersectionality, and marginalized communities like confetti, hoping that sounding intellectual will distract from the fact that she's not actually saying anything of substance. But people are starting to catch on. The theatrics don't land like they used to. Her once fiery persona is now being exposed for what it is, a carefully crafted image built more on social media clout than real policy knowledge. And when pressed, the cracks start to show. Loud doesn't mean right. Emotional doesn't mean effective. And AOC, she's running out of places to hide.
AOC has called for the investigating and possible impeaching of members of the Supreme Court. Here's what she said.
I believe that we should be considering subpoenas. We should be considering investigations. There also must be impeachment on the table, and the Supreme Court has not been receiving the adequate oversight necessary in order to preserve their own legitimacy.
Where in the Constitution do you find oversight? One branch is the watchdog of the other branch? I don't think so. That's not the way it works.
A lot of people don't like AOC, but I really do love the earnestness of her stupidity. Like, there's something really charming about how hard she's trying. It's like watching your 14-year-old give a speech about something they don't really fully understand. It's like, it's kind of cute. It's adorable in a very, society-destroying sort of way.
This is exactly what I've been saying for weeks, and it's what Bill Maher is now boldly trying to get everyone to see. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez isn't nearly as sharp or principled as the media paints her to be. For someone who claims to fight for the working class, she has a curious habit of showing up at elite red carpet events thrown by the very same oligarchs she supposedly opposes. You can't wear designer gowns to gala fundraisers and then preach about income inequality with a straight face. That's not activism. That's performance. So when her name started floating around as a potential replacement for Kamala Harris, many of us immediately raised an eyebrow, and rightly so. We saw through the illusion AOC may be loud, but she lacks depth. She may tweet well, but she crumbles under real scrutiny. If this is the Democratic Party's future, they've got bigger problems than they realize. And this happened because of Bill Maher's criticism of AOC.
People love AOC. People love Jasmine Crockett. People love Eric Swalwell and the like. And I think that the Democratic Party should put the people out there who the people want. They should put the politicians out there who the people want, who they're asking for, who are meeting the moment with the same energy that
they're not asking for AOC.
Yes, they are.
The people you party with
No.
are.
The people I party with don't like AOC.
Oh, please.
No, they don't at all.
Well, most people don't.
But
she's
AOC,
very far left.
Let me tell you why I'm saying that.
Wait a minute. It looks like even AOC's own supporters are panicking and shifting the goalpost faster than the speed of light. One moment. Don Lemon is confidently claiming that the people are calling for AOC to lead. But then when Bill Maher calmly retorts that nobody actually likes AOC outside of Lemon's social circle, Don suddenly backpedals and insists that even the people he parties with don't like her. Now, if that isn't pure panic and confusion, I don't know what is. It's like watching someone try to bail water out of a sinking ship with a spoon. I'm honestly not surprised. Defending the idea of an AOC presidential ticket is like trying to sell sand in the desert. It's a tough, almost impossible job. And for Don Lemon, who's been flailing for relevance ever since his CNN exit, this attempt to prop her up only further exposes the desperation.
Because people will vote for AOC and Donald Trump on the same ticket. Because they're authentic. No, because they're authentic.
I don't think that Don.
I think you're wrong about that.
What people like about people like Trump and Fetterman is because it's irrelevant to her life.
But you don't know her life.
I know that being a gorgeous woman who I wouldn't even know was Hispanic in a city that has 1 million Hispanics and does not treat them badly.
But that doesn't mean she doesn't struggle. That doesn't mean that she was set down.
It implies it.
But that doesn't mean that she was set down in a Hispanic ghetto in the Bronx and had to deal with that growing up, and that she's come from a working class family.
It implies it implies that in some way she's behind the 8 ball because of that, and it's just not true.
Don't be deceived. AOC may have some people fooled, but not Bill Maher. He sees right through the carefully crafted narrative. Emma has publicly questioned the authenticity of her so-called working-class origin story, and is not wrong to do so. Contrary to the image she tries to sell, AOC didn't exactly grow up in the gritty, impoverished neighborhoods she references in her speeches. Her father was relatively well-off, and she had access to opportunities and education that many truly struggling Americans never do. And then came the most absurd comparison of the night. Don Lemon, trying to equate AOC's authenticity with Donald Trump's. Really, these two couldn't be more different. Say what you will about Trump, but his brand of authenticity, loud, unfiltered, and unapologetic, isn't something you can fake. AOC's version, on the other hand, feels more like a marketing campaign than a genuine identity. It's all optics and very little substance. Anyway, Maher continues his expose.
And so
I don't know if she's behind the 8 ball, but I don't think she's as privileged as many people who are in Congress right now.
Is that privileged or not? She was a bartender.
Yeah.
You know, so I was a delivery boy.
But I'm saying sometimes, Bill, you don't agree with Donald Trump's policies.
No.
But that's what the people want.
Some of them.
Whether you like her or not, I don't like what she did with Amazon in New York, but I think AOC she's a Democratic icon.
Well, she's the wrong. If you think that's the direction the country, the Democratic.
I'm not saying the policies that she espouses that's the direction, but I'm saying that you have to give the people who are out front speaking for the party, not the people who are.
If you think
she's evolving,
yeah, she's evolving,
and
as we all are,
and she is moving into
right.
She understands the game a little bit more. And if you notice, she is sort of becoming a sort of normal kind of Democrat in many ways.
Yes.
I think she's evolving.
Okay, great.
She's a very smart tactically. She's very smart.
Let's get behind that.
Whatever leader they ask for, no matter how dangerous, unqualified, or misguided the choice may be, by that logic, if the people suddenly wanted Hitler back, we should just roll with it. That kind of thinking is not just irresponsible, it's terrifying. And honestly, it says a lot about the current mindset of the Democratic Party. This blind, desperate need to pander to every whim of the crowd, no matter how radical or uninformed, is precisely why their moral compass seems so broken. It's not about principles anymore. It's about popularity. That's how you end up with party figures sympathizing with or outright supporting terrorist groups over a democratic ally like Israel. It's not leadership. It's cowardice wrapped in populist packaging. And Lemon is the perfect spokesperson for that confusion.
Much, Madam Chair, Madam Ranking Member. Here we are today, Republicans who have voted consistently against the Violence Against Women Act, who have taken away the right of all women to choose and have control over their own body, who, as women are bleeding out in parking lots across the country, standing there, allowing us to die, now want to pretend today that they care about women. And why? To open up gender and, yes, genital examinations into little girls in this country in the so-called name of attacking trans girls. And to that, today, what we have to say are 2 words: not today.
I honestly got a migraine just watching that clip. How in the world does banning biological males from competing in women's sports equate to inspecting the genitals of young girls? That kind of logic is not just absurd, it's deliberately inflammatory. AOC seems to be reaching, clawing for relevance, desperately trying to stay in the political spotlight by saying the most outrageous thing she can think of. Let's be clear, no one is advocating for some bizarre inspection regime. The debate is about fairness and protecting the integrity of women's sports, not about violating anyone's privacy. Do we subject other athletes to genital inspections before classifying them as male or female? Of course not, because that's not how it's done, and AOC knows it. But she doesn't care about truth, only headlines. Her comments aren't rooted in facts or concern for young girls. They are political theater. And beneath the drama, there's nothing of substance. AOC is once again all soundbite and no depth.
I know who loves this bill. Yes, bigoted folks love this bill. Assaulters love this bill. But also, CEOs love this bill. Because Los Angeles is on fire right now. And this is the #1 priority the majority has. Thank you, and I yield back.
AOC labels anyone who rallies against the destruction of women's sports as bigoted not because they are, but because she has an ongoing disdain for traditional American values. It's that simple. She doesn't defend fairness. She attacks it. In her world, protecting the integrity of women's sports is somehow hateful, while allowing biological males to dominate female athletes is inclusive. Now, if you muted the audio and just watched her facial expressions, you might be fooled into thinking she's delivering some profound, reasoned argument. Her brows furrow, her hands move emphatically. She's clearly performing, but the moment you actually listen to her words, you can't help but bury your face in your hands out of secondhand embarrassment. It's like watching someone passionately argue about a topic they clearly don't understand, but refuse to admit it. AOC thrives on emotional theatrics, not intellectual substance. And the more she talks, the clearer that becomes. In the end, AOC's facade is crumbling, her arguments are shallow, her theatrics transparent, and her supporters, like Don Lemon, are scrambling to keep the illusion alive. Whether it's twisting basic debates into outrageous accusations or rewriting her own background, she's built a political brand on performance, not principle. Bill Maher simply pulled back the curtain, and now the panic is obvious. The more she speaks, the clearer it becomes. AOC isn't the future, she's the distraction from it. And that draws the curtains on today's video. If you enjoyed it, then hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching and see you in the next.